Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Dennis Bolton, aka Gotbot, and yes, finally we're going to take a look at my custom work to make the Age of Extinction, the Transformers Age of Extinction Dinobots into G1 incarnations, and boom, there's Grimlock. And I know exactly what you're thinking now. Gotbot, you lied to us. That doesn't look G1 at all. And you're right, it doesn't. Because we need to look at this guy. And now I know what you're thinking again. Wait, another lie. You said we were taking a break from Generations, and we kind of are. But in order to do a look at what I've done for a G1 version of the Dinobots, we need to start with the Fall of Cybertron Voyager class Grimlock. So, what am I going to do for this video? Pretty simple. We're going to take a look at the Transformers Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock and the Transformers Fall of Cybertron Voyager class Grimlock. That's right, this one is a 2-4, folks. Stick around as we get started on what I guess we can call the Dinobot series. Okay, welcome back to the channel. I already introduced myself, Dennis Moulton, aka Gotbot, and I'm going to ask you guys, as always, to please check me out across social media. Check out Machinery Man, check out the Everything Factor, check out anything that I do. Anyway, yeah, okay, so let me explain a couple things. A lot of people love the Dinobots, especially the original G1 Dinobots, and I'm no different, so do I. You know, me Grimlock King. You know, how can you not love that? You know, me no like you, right? How can you not like that? Grimlock was a character that was strong, powerful, yet at the same time lovable. And everybody's always wanted, you know, some G1 version. So how do you get that? Well, of course, you can go and hunt down the original G1 Dinobots. And hey, if you have a whole collection of them, thumbs up, good for you. You could always get the Planet X third-party Fall of Cybertron inspired version of the Dinobots. And a lot of people use those as G1-ish. And again, those are beautiful figures. If you have that collection, thumbs up. And you know what? Honestly, if I could have them, I would. They're all absolutely beautiful, but they're also really expensive. You know, that's the way third parties are. You're paying $100 a figure or close enough on. And that's American. You live somewhere else, like I do in Canada, and that's going to be even more expensive. You add shipping on, that's even more expensive. So it's not attainable for everyone. Well, you could always go and buy the exclusive San Diego Comic-Con set and the San Diego Comic-Con version of Slug and get the 5 originals. That's expensive in aftermarket prices. Okay, how about this? Even with G1 heads, you can get Strafe as a version of Swoop. You can get Slug as a version of Sludge. You can get Snarl. You can get Slug as a version of Slag, and of course you can get this Grimlock with a head similar to this for a G1 inspiration. But again, to get those 5 figures, you're looking at $200 Canadian. It's expensive for 5 figures. Okay, what else can you do? You could go the Masterpiece route. And there's loads of gorgeous, gorgeous Masterpiece inspired Dinobots out there. And, you know, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but they all look fabulous on the shelf. But we all know that Masterpieces, especially third-party inspired Masterpieces, are, again, really expensive. So, what do you do if you want to have something that reminds you of G1 that you can live with, but that's affordable? Well, I bought the entire Age of Extinction line at retail, some of them on sale. Same with this guy. Actually, this guy was a Christmas gift from Starscream Girlfriend a few years ago. Didn't expect to get him. Really glad that I did get him, actually. Uh, and I honestly just went. I picked up a set of paint pens for 11 bucks Canadian. I got a separate red one for I think about $3, and I went to work. So let's look at these two guys as I have explained all of that. I'm going to lay the FoC Grimlock aside for a few minutes, and we'll look at this one. You know, there are versions of this that have been G1 inspired that have come out with a red chest, and these side pieces are gray, and the head and whatnot is gray, and the arms are gray, and he has more of a black head sculpt, and it's a beautiful head sculpt that just doesn't put me in the mind of Grimlock. His head is up on his shoulders. I mean, it's a bit of a different look. You know, he has the Sultan style booties. He still has the black thighs. There's been gold and chrome and everything else put on this guy to make him look G1, even giving him a G1 head in the Platinum Edition set. Is this a good figure? Well, this isn't mine. I actually got a lend of this figure off of Braden, one of Starscream Girlfriend's scraplets, and I appreciate him letting me have this to review. Paint apps. I like the paint apps. They're not really accurate to the movie. They're not really accurate to G1. I'll give his paint apps a 7. It looks really good, but it's not really accurate to anything. It's its own thing. I do think that it looks better than the leader class version with that gaudy, awful, just asking to chip off chrome. So paint apps a 7. Posability, playability. In Dino mode, actually he's quite posable. With his jaw opening, the legs move great, the little arms here, they can move kind of all around on ball joints. So he's great that way. In this mode, the head, looks left, it looks right, it looks up a bit, but not much. It can certainly look down, which is great. I like that it looks down. The legs, and you'll notice that I skipped over the arms. The legs can go out about that far because of the hip skirt. Still, that's pretty good. They go all the way forward, which is great. They go all the way back, which is great. The knee has a beautiful 90-degree bend, and it's an easy bend. The feet, they flip like this, if that's any good to you. There is a thigh swivel, but it's way, way up here by the hip joint. But it works. I mean, it gets you what you need. There is no waist articulation. That's largely because of transformation. Now we come to the arms. Oh, and I just unpegged something. Now we come to the arms. The arms will go, assuming I can keep them pegged in, the arms will, swing all the way around. If you put the head up out of the way, they'll go a full 360 all the way around. And the heads move too. That's the other thing. The heads move to give you, they can move up to give you some more mobility, or move down on the shoulders closer, whatever you want. Then we come to the elbows and hands. Well, he has the whole gorilla arm thing going on, where you take this and you put it, you can put it across his body just like that. It looks great. And it can swivel all the way around. You can have him bend forward, but I mean, his fist is in that sort of pose. Is there a way to get his fist so that it goes from this to this? Well, yes. You take his dino paw and you unpeg it, because there's a peg right here that goes into a hole here on the forearm. You unpeg it and you can turn his fist. Now that does mean he has a huge dino foot on his arm, but it works. And it's not pegged in, but again, it works. And it will still stay up there, it's not falling. It still stays there fine. Very minor gripe. Supposability, playability, I'll give this guy 9. I'll give him a 9 because I really don't care too much about this. If that really bothers you, having that unpegged and on the side, and you want it pegged in like this one is over here, then you might score him lower on posability, playability. Transformation for this guy. It's not too bad if you know what you're doing. You'll also notice there's a front skirt piece that's missing. That's not me. That was the Scraplet who lost that. So that if you can find it, it just goes back on over. If you don't find it, it really doesn't affect anything, to be honest with you. You'll also notice he doesn't have that stupid staff thing, weapon. I don't know where that is, so I'm not going to show that off. I don't think that's a good weapon piece anyway. So for transformation, we fold the feet down just like so. And we bring the feet together. There is a little peg here and a hole here, and you bring the feet together, and you should be able to peg them together. And that doesn't want to, there you go. You should be able to peg them together just like this. And that's the lower body really done. We'll put the arms out here to the side for now, just to give ourselves room to work. Next we come to these hip skirts. You have a peg here that was into a slot on his thigh. You unpeg it and you bring this back. Same on this side, you unpeg the peg from the slot on the thigh and you bring it back. Obviously if you were transforming him back, you would bring these forward and put that peg back into the slot. His feet just came undone. Don't even worry about it for now. Just keep his legs straight and you'll be fine. What do we do next? Well, we unpeg his body, which is easy to unpeg. There's a peg right here. It goes into a black hole back right here. You just unpeg that. Sometimes it likes to come off on its own anyway, but you unpeg that and you bring it right up over Grimlock's face. If you were transforming him back, obviously you'd push this down and you would put that peg into the hole. But you bring it right up over Grimlock's face for now. On the back, he is kind of kibbly because you have his lower jaw hanging off here. You have this piece hanging off here on the back. But that's about to change. Why? Because we're going to take this piece and bring it between the two head parts. It is a little bit of a tight fit. You might want to, just maneuver it a little bit, maneuver the ears, we'll call them, of the Dino mode. After that piece is out, you bring the two sides of the dino head down around and you peg them together. You bring up the lower jaw, like so. And we're not even going to worry about bringing this together yet. Why? Because we're going to bring the body down like so. All the way down. He's basically sitting down now. If I can move this other way. Here's his waist, and you basically just set him down forward, right forward, as if he's trying to touch his toes. When you bring him down like that, I should point this out, you'll notice that there are two pegs on his kneecaps. They will go into two little slots up here on this, black piece. There's a slot right there, and there's one over right there. They go into those pegs on the kneecaps. So even if the toes from earlier did come undone, when you peg these in, it should help to hold the legs in place. Anyway, you peg those in like so, you peg the toes back together like so, and all of that should, it should hold pretty good. It might not be perfect right now, but we will get to perfect. You take the whole body piece here and flip it forward a little bit so that this piece can come down right over Grimlock's crest. Here's Grimlock's head down into his chest as he's trying to lean forward. And this whole body piece comes down and just fits in right behind his crest. Just like so. Here's Grimlock's head. Hard to call that a dinosaur yet. You take the hip skirts from earlier and you bring them here. They're coming around to the back of the legs now. They were on the front of the legs pegged into holes here. Now you're bringing them around to the back of the legs. And you put out his little dino arms, like so. He's starting to look a little more dinosaur-ish. You close the jaw in. You basically snap the top of the head into the bottom of the head. And there you go. There's the head done. And you take his shoulder and bend it down. You take his shoulder and bend it down. You flip down the paws and turn them forward. Turn them forward. You flip out the toe piece right there. And you might want to, you know, set this up a little bit to give him a good dinosaur stance. You just make sure everything is pegged in. And those feet came undone on me again. Normally, if you had the weapon piece, you'd slide it on over his feet. That would also hold them together, and you'd have this huge long tail coming out. In the end, you have Grimlock in dinosaur mode like this. Okay, so here's, you know, Grimlock in dinosaur mode. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a cool head sculpt. I love the green eyes. I think that looks really cool. I don't really dig the earpieces. I mean, I think you're supposed to actually put him back like that. Give him like a swept look. You know, he stands. You can see what they're going for. I think that this chest piece with the dino arms is kind of loose in terms of being an effective chest piece. You know, the jaw does open and close. There's a button here inside that does it. That's a pretty cool feature. I kind of like the chomping feature. It's too bad his mouth is just always hung open. The transformation isn't too bad. To be honest with you, the transformation is about an 8. Overall, this version of Grimlock, though not G1, I would pretty much give an 8.5 to. He's good. He's good. He's certainly, maybe even a 9. He's certainly better than the leader version in my estimation. His proportions are nicer, even though his body right this section is kind of, you know, not quite right. But if you're collecting all of the Age of Extinction Dinobots, hey, Grimlock is a good entry, and he looks like an authoritative leader. So there you go. But we'll just lay him aside for now, and we'll look at this guy. Now, why am I looking at this guy? When I said I done the Age of Extinction Dinobots in a G1 fashion, I customized them. Because for me, Grimlock still looks like this. And being the leader, I still wanted him to look like this, and I already had him. I didn't want to replace him with this. I wanted to be able to incorporate him. I did not get the Platinum Edition Dinobots because, again, I didn't want him. Plus, I didn't want all of them to seem silver and chrome when this guy is obviously painted gray. I love this Grimlock. He was made, and it's been talked about, you know, in 2012 when the economy wasn't great, and they, you know, had to do things like have the hollow backs of the legs, which they do try to fill in with the tail. They talk about his hollow body, but again, the space is there so you can put the head in. Overall, I don't have the complaints with him that a lot of people have with this guy. I like him, to be perfectly honest with you. I really do. And he has his own gimmicks as well. You know, you can light up his chest like that. He has great light piping if you get the light going through right there. His eyes actually shine very nice. He has a beautiful Dinobot, Autobot symbol right here. I really like it, actually. Now, this guy had a torso here that was gray, and he had like a gold color waist piece, and he had gray legs. To give him a more G1 aesthetic, I painted this whole section red, and I painted the thighs black, which I believe is closer to what was done with the Japanese version. It was, I believe, also done with a chromed out gold chest in a Target exclusive Age of Extinction set. It was him and I think the deluxe class Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, if I'm not mistaken. I thought about painting these sections in with the blue and the green, which would have worked fine, or even putting them down below blue and green and leaving the red right there. I didn't do it because I liked the look of this better. I always thought that that little touch of green and blue was unnecessary and really didn't serve a point, so I left it. Painting the thighs was fine. It dried quickly. Painting all of this red was fine. It dried quickly, and I think it looks like a good Grimlock. It doesn't affect any of his posability. It doesn't affect transformation. Nothing. It just makes him look a little more G1, and he is going to be the start of our series. He is still the leader of the Dinobots. So paint apps for this guy, originally they were about an 8.5. It was no mistake, it was Grimlock. Right now, because I added this, I think his paint apps are, a 10. I think they're 10. I think it looks G1. Actually, I guess I should say 9.5 because I did consciously overlook the blue and the green. Paint apps 9.5. Posability, playability. The head is on a ball joint that goes all the way around. Doesn't really look up or down a whole lot, a little bit. The shoulders go all the way around on a soft ratchet. They go out on a heavier ratchet out to there. The elbows are also on a ratchet and they bend a nice 90 degrees. The hands, I mean, they can go like this. Really, that's because of transformation. And the shoulders are strange. The shoulders can do forward like this and back like this. They're kind of loose. At least on my version, at least this one is kind of loose. But I look at it as, an added posability feature. It's a weird one. I don't know what you'd really do with it, but it's there. The legs go way forward. They go way, way back. They go out about this far. He's not gonna do the splits like a champ, but it's okay. It's Grimlock. How much of the splits do you want this guy to do? The toes, they bend kind of forward and back, and you'll notice my knees are loose, and a lot of people have this problem. Here's the thing. You can lock these actually, and I left them loose because I wanted to show this to you. There's a little hole right there, and there's a little peg in the leg there. The idea is that you line those up and push them in. Now that can be a bit tricky to do, and they don't always want to fit, so I'm just going to try here now. I need to be able to see in my light a bit. There. That one is locked in, and on this side, okay, maybe you can see down in. On this side you can see it's locked in right there. To help that stability, you push the tail sections in, and the tail sections, they will also kind of lock in over a little bit of a ridge in there. You end up getting a nice knee bend of 90 degrees right there like that. There is a thigh swivel. Also at the arms, I didn't show it earlier because I got caught up with the shoulders, but there is a bicep swivel. In Dino mode, these little arms can move about like his does. Probably a little bit better actually. His legs don't really move in Dino mode, so he's sort of static. Posability, playability for this guy, about a 7. I find the shoulders weird. The knees, they can come unlocked. So his posability, playability is about a 7. So paint apps, 9.5. Posability, playability is 7. Let's get into transformation. By the way, the Planet X version of this guy, Vulcan, is bigger and beefier and really nice. But even with him, there are some transformation issues with his tail that I'm uncomfortable with. Anyway, I'll stick with this guy because I don't need him to be bigger and bulkier. I think Voyager size is the right size for him, to be honest with you. But that's just me. Like I said, transformation. Oh, and I guess I should point out before I do transformation, this is a shield. It can go on his arm. There's a port on the shoulder. Of course, it can go on his hand. It can go on his lower arm because there's a port down here if you wanted to. Same with the sword. The sword can, it's beautiful translucent orange sword. It can go pegged in up on his arm. It can go pegged in on his lower arm, or it can go in his hand, and I mean he holds it just fine. And honestly, it's kind of appropriate that this mold is being reviewed now because it was just reused again, reshelled, but the exact same transformation and a lot of the same parts for the Platinum Edition Robots in Disguise set with Bumblebee and Grimlock to give a Robots in Disguise Voyager version of that Grimlock. So if you have that Grimlock, it's the exact same transformation as this guy, so keep watching. Or if you're thinking about getting that Grimlock and wondering, is he worth it? Keep watching. Exact same transformation. So the posability for that Grimlock is going to be the same as this one. How do we transform him? Well, we begin by bringing his head up and all the way over. Now you can't just bring the head up and put it in. You got to actually extend the head, and it's going to come all the way over, and these two chest pieces will lock into these two slots right here, just like that. Next, flip the arms down because they're going to end up becoming the legs. We won't do anything with them for now. Let's deal with the robot legs next. What do you do with the robot legs? Well, you unpeg them, and once you have them pegged in, you might have to fiddle with them a bit. I find a lot of times what I need to do is reach back here and really pull out the tail. Reach back here and pull out the tail. You're going to take now this loose leg piece and you're going to bring it up over his thigh. It's kind of Combiner Wars-ish, to be honest with you. You're collapsing the leg. You're taking the shin and you're bringing it up over the thigh. Same thing we've been doing with the Combiner Wars, actually. You flip the feet down all the way like this, and then you have to peg the tail together. The tail is extremely tight to peg together and likes to pop apart. But once you get it solidly pegged in, it's good. And you'll notice you have a peg here and a peg here. You have a hole here and a hole here. So you line those up, and hopefully peg them together like so. Nope, does not want to do it on camera, of course. There, finally. Worst part of this transformation. Then we come to his hands, and let's move this out of the way. Then we come to his hands. You flip out the front of the dino feet, you flip up the hand into the foot. On the other side, you do the same thing. You flip out the dino feet, you flip the hand up into the foot. You're going to want to bend the elbows, which are now the dinosaur legs, a lot if you want them to stand. Now, some people leave the legs out like this and call this good. They do it so that his legs can move. Okay, here, I'll take that off. They do it so his legs can move. It's not what you're supposed to do, though. You're supposed to bring it down and angle it in. When you angle it in, this piece should fit into the slot here. I'll do it on this side as well. There is a space in right here, and you're supposed to angle it down and bring it in so that it fits into the space. When you bring it in, not only are you supposed to fit it into the space, but there's a tab up right here that goes into a little hole that's in right there, and the leg should tab up like so and lock in. The leg should tab up like so and lock in. And now they're pretty stationary. I mean, he does move at the knee, but the legs themselves are pretty stationary. They don't stay tabbed in fabulous, but for my purposes, I think that's okay. Again, you take the shield and you plug it on the side. You take the sword, you plug it on the side, and boom, there you go. Grimlock in dinosaur mode. And we now have 2 Grimlocks in dinosaur mode. You know, which one do you prefer? Well, I guess that's your call, to be honest with you. I prefer this one. His leg transformation, terrible. His leg transformation, beautiful. His body transformation, fabulous. His body transformation, terrible. So in the end, I said that this guy was, you know, a 9, really. He's a good figure. This guy, what's his transformation? About a 6. His transformation is only about a 6. So his pain app's 9.5, transformation a 6, and posability, playability a 7. Overall, this Grimlock, he's about a 7.5. He is not a stellar figure. He certainly has his, you know, his issues, and I'm sure the RID use of this mold has its issues. Yeah, I mean, in the end, we have 2 dinosaurs here, and you know, this guy overall as a figure is a better figure. This guy is a better representation of the character. Now that being said, you might say, well, should I not get this guy if he's only, you know, like a 7.5? No, truth is, the tail thing, sometimes when I transform him, that's really easy, sometimes it's not. It is what it is. Overall, I like the mold. I like the look of it. It feels like Grimlock. And I think for RID, it feels like Grimlock. People have said, should I, you know, spend the money and get the third-party Vulcan from Planet X? You know what? You can, but that has its issues too. Basically, Grimlock is a character that always has his issues. This guy was a gift. I love him dearly, and he's not a Grimlock I'm going to replace. Some people have complained about under here being, you know, bare. Again, I really don't notice it. I don't hold him up. I either have him like this or in robot mode. Anyway, he is going to be the start of our G1 Dinobot inspired set. And we got the leader done. Let's get to looking at the rest. Stick around for the next video when we look at another custom of, this time, I promise, one of the Age of Extinction Dinobots. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time inside the video.